I'm Morgan. I create content on baby names and baby name trends, and I have a special interest in vintage names. So today we're going to take a look at the top 1,000 baby names from 1918 and see which names were ranked then that are not ranked today that might be worth making a comeback. The first two were both used 217 times, so technically they're tied for 1001. They almost didn't make the cut for this video because they were almost too popular, and those are Harris and Foster. Next is the name Vito. It was used 89 times. This is an Italian and Spanish name, and it means life. So if you're somebody who cares about the meaning of names that you're giving your child, or yourself if you're renaming yourself, this is a really good one to consider. Art was used 29 times, and this is most often a diminutive for the name Arthur, but all the way through the 1960s it ranked as a standalone name. Raleigh was used 5 times. This could alternatively be pronounced Rolly, and this is another one that was most often a diminutive for the name Roland. Zygmunt was only used 9 times, and this one had like the briefest stint in the top 1,000 from 1916 until 1919, and then it hasn't ranked since, so it was just kind of there for a short little blip in time. Pierre was used 194 times. This is the French form of the name Peter, and it actually did rank in the top 1,000 until 2003, and then it was off and on for a few years, and now it's been gone for a couple more. Price was used 55 times, and this one comes from a Welsh surname that was derived from Ap Rhys, which means son of Rhys. Arch was used 8 times, and this was most often another diminutive for the name Archibald. It ranked until 1923. I could see this one coming back though. It's kind of like an off the beaten path nature name. If you're into like the American Southwest and the national parks, you've got Arches National Park, and that could be kind of like a cool nod to that. Cedric was used 206 times, and last year was actually Cedric's first year not ranking in the top 1,000. So once 2022's data comes out, I will be interested to see if it made its way back or if it's like off for good, or at least for the foreseeable future. Toivo, this is a Finnish name and it means hope, and it's actually a top 10 boys name in Finland currently, but it hasn't ranked here in the United States since 1918. Here's one I shared in the past on my TikTok that shocked everybody. Ivy used to actually rank as a masculine name. I've always said I feel like most nature names just have a very gender neutral feel to them, and Ivy was used for boys last year 21 times, but it hasn't ranked in the top 1,000 since 1935. Ike is another one of those diminutive names. It kind of formed as a diminutive for the name Isaac, and it was used 56 times last year. It hasn't ranked since 1957. I really like the sound of Ike, and if it weren't for the character that comes to mind, Gaston would be such a cool name. Gaston was used 23 times last year, and I don't really anticipate this one making a comeback because of Beauty and the Beast. Elvis was used 122 times, and as we kind of move farther away from like the peak of Elvis Presley, I could see this one making a comeback. It has like strong but soft and sweet sounds to it, and I think a lot of parents would gravitate towards the name Elvis if it weren't for the association with Elvis Presley. Florian, a name I just love. I think this is a great nature name for boys. It's the best name. I love this one. It was used 29 times. It hasn't ranked in the top 1,000 since 1941. I would love to see more little Florians enter the world. Booker was used 159 times last year. This one hasn't ranked since 1966. I really love this one. It always gets a mixed reaction when I share my TikTok videos. People either love it or hate it. It's a very polarizing name. I love it. I don't think I am cool enough to have a kid named Booker, but I think if you have the right energy, like this would be a really good option. Basil was used 73 times last year. It hasn't ranked since 1971, but I have been saying basically since I started my TikTok, this is a name to keep an eye out for. When it makes its comeback, it's likely going to make its comeback with the pronunciation basil, with like the very like earthy, naturey, crunchy moms. Like I am calling this one. Vaughn, I just love this one. It was used 182 times last year. It ranked consistently up until 2017 when it fell off, and it hasn't made its way back up again. I really hope that it does. I think Vaughn is just a fantastic name. There's a lot of strength behind it without like being like overtly like macho sounding. And then a couple of virtue names. We've got Noble and Coy. Noble was used 151 times and Coy was used 102. Coy is another one I've got a really big soft spot for. It's not one that I would use, but it's one that like if anyone I knew used it, I would be over the moon happy. I think it's a fantastic name and very underrated. 2 naturey names, Hollis and Delmar. Hollis means from the holly trees. Delmar means from the pond. I think these are both great options. Hollis was used 199 times, whereas Delmar was only used 22. I would love to see more uses of the name Delmar as well. This is another one, like, it brings me serotonin. Something about the sounds in Delmar. I'm like, that's a nice name. The name Saul was used 137 times. This was most often a diminutive for the name Solomon. But like basil versus basil, this can also be pronounced sol, and I think if it does make its comeback, it's going to be using the pronunciation sol. That's the Spanish and Portuguese pronunciation, and it means sun. I would love to hear what you think of these names, which ones you liked, which ones you didn't, which ones maybe you would consider using for a baby or a pet or a sim. I will be back next Wednesday with another video that I won't be filming past bedtime, so hopefully I'll be a little more coherent, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your week. Bye!